Okay, we're here with Mark Lemons, WB6BJN, and he's going to tell us a little bit about how he became a ham radio operator, and maybe some things about how to handle the radio as a blind person, and a little bit about net control. So here he is, Mark Lemons. Okay, Mark, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, Mark Lemons. I've been a ham for about 40 years. Back in high school, I received my ham license. Always was interested in amateur radio, and when I was in high school, my electronics teacher, W6SQP, Jim Hansen. I was in his electronics class at Downey High School, and he told me that if I got my ham license, he'd give me an A, and because he didn't want me working around a lot of electrical stuff, being blind. He didn't want me getting my fingers in places where they shouldn't be, and so my project for the semester was to get my ham ticket, and I studied and got my ham ticket, and I've been a ham ever since. Got my novice license that was back in 1970? Yeah, 1970.
And when did you start upgrading?
Well, in those days, you had to upgrade within 2 years. The novice was like an apprenticeship, and so you had to upgrade your license, and then if you didn't, then you had to start all over again. So you couldn't keep your novice ticket at that point, and so I had to study for the general. So immediately, within 6 months or so after I got my novice, I had a little fun for a while, and then I started studying for the general, and doing I had an ARRL Braille license manual, and took an amateur radio course through the mail from the Hadley School for the Blind in Illinois.
Okay, so what do you like most about being a ham radio operator?
One of my favorite things is seeing where I can work and the people that I can talk to. I really enjoy talking to people all over the world, and just, I love doing net control. We do a morning traffic net on the local repeater, and really enjoy doing that, and when dealing with the people and having fun. So that's what makes it most fun for me.
Now, what is it? Maybe you can explain to the people what is net control, and why do we have net controls?
Net control is to make sure that the net is running smoothly, making sure that check-ins are that people are checking in to the net and going through the net control, and that they are of course following the net procedure. And we take our mobiles first, and we take things, people in order from, the mobiles first, and then the other stations. So making sure that happens, or that people just don't, come in any time that they feel like it, that you kind of have a sense of direction with the net. So that's what the net control duties are, and also to have fun, and and make sure that things are running smoothly.
Now, why have a net? I mean, what is the purpose of a net when there is no emergency?
The purpose of a net when there's really no emergency is, in my mind, well, it's part of it is good fellowship with people, and also practice. It's also good practice for when there is an emergency, and you do an emergency net. You practice, and you continue to sharpen your skills for when there is an emergency situation. So nets are good in that retrospect, that it keeps you sharp, and keeps the people who check into net sharp on how to follow the procedure.
Okay, so have you participated in any emergencies, disasters or anything like that?
The one that really comes to mind was we had a local situation where a little boy got lost, and I did net control for that. Where they found him, he was fine. That was through our local ARES group. Also, I participated in back a couple of years back. We had a very, very extreme heat wave, and we were asked to help man the cooling centers and to bring information to those that were out there and be at the cooling centers and handle radio communications.
Okay. Now, for some people, they don't understand what we mean by when we say ham radio operators or amateur radio operators. Maybe you can explain some of that to the people.
Amateur radio operators are I guess type of experts in radio. In other words, we have to take an exam to become amateur radio operator, and we use different frequencies for example, different than Citizens Band, which is a public service, but it's different than ham radio. So it's the things that we've learned with radio and the usefulness of radio. So.
Okay. Now, why do they call it amateur radio?
There's an acronym for that, and I have forgotten that acronym. So.
Okay. Well, the one thing that I know I was asked one time is, why can't you get paid? And I think that's part of, at least my view is, we don't get paid because if we did, then we'd have to follow certain rules and do things in a certain way, and we may have restrictions put on how we do things. Whereas amateurs, where we're not paid, we have a little more freedom to do things that are a little bit more effective with a lot less power. And that's just a personal view, and there's different views of why we don't get paid, and I know there's a big discussion going on now as to what it means when an amateur receives money with anything relating to ham radio, as far as instructions and things like that. What's your view?
Well, it's funny you should bring that up, because there's an issue right now about if there's certain people who are employed who are amateur radio operators, can they participate in the emergency situation with amateur radio while getting paid for that? And there seems to be some things dealing with that right now on the FCC. If you listen to AR Newsline, talks about that. My view is that we really shouldn't be paid. The satisfaction is doing a worthwhile service out there, and it makes you feel good when you do a bike ride, when you're handling the communications, and that to me is better than, in some sense, more rewarding than any money that you could get paid for doing it.
Okay, well, thank you, Mark, and hopefully we can get some people a little interested by explaining and sort of demystifying what ham radio is, or what they perceive as amateur radio operator. So hopefully everyone has a great day. This is Tom, K6THM, and Mark, WB6BJN, and hope everybody has a great day. Bye.